two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and our attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
It's Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast with Ryan Enjoys Wrestling and the Heartbreak Dude, Denton. And this is our AEW Fight Forever edition of Two Dudes with Attitudes. We've missed the last couple weeks on this. We apologize. We are going to do a flashback to last week's Dynamite as well, just to make up for it. But yeah, man, life gets busy. We've been busy and we weren't able to, we penciled it in and then we just couldn't record them. So we're sorry to all our AEW fans. This AEW, believe it or not, usually gets more views and hits than the WWE ones do. So I do apologize to y'all from here.
And AEW's been, they've been cooking. They've been cooking the last couple of weeks. I mean, it's been
not the ratings, but everything else has been pretty cookie.
Last couple of episodes have been really, really good.
They have. So you ready to get into it? Last week's Dynamite?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
What we're going to do is we're not going to cover the whole episode. We're just going to talk about the end because we do have to talk about this thing that happened, and that was MJF. So basically, Will Ospreay wrestled Daniel Garcia for his international title. MJF was in his corner to root him on because he just wanted him to win oh so badly. And basically, Will Ospreay defeats him, and after the match, MJF attacks and bloodies Daniel Garcia, gives him a freaking tombstone from the turnbuckle, which even had me go like, ugh. And then I don't know what Will Ospreay was doing, eating or having a sandwich. I have no idea, but he came out for the save about an hour later to close the show, and that was how Dynamite ended a week ago. So yeah, did you know that was, I think, the funniest part about it is why come out at all? Why haven't come out? He literally just walked up the ramp and MJF was like, beat the crap out of you, and he was like getting a massage. Like, what the heck was he doing after taking a piss? I don't know.
I remember it was a lot like when MJF did that pipe bomb promo in California on that one episode of Dynamite, and then then they show like after everything happened, CM Punk comes limping down to the
yeah.
Why'd you even come out, man? Like,
I don't
he has his like shin guards on and he's barefoot and he's like, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what purpose does this serve? And then
no idea.
But yeah, like that whole thing was the Will Ospreay thing. That was probably one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. But
what'd you think of the turn? Let's hear it.
I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I think it's too soon for him to turn heel. You know, the thing is why not just reunite him with Adam Cole then, and then have him do this exact same thing with Adam Cole, and then I would have been okay with it. Or him and Daniel Garcia were friends for like 2 weeks, and then it was a lot like, going back to WWE comparisons, but when Kevin Owens was Kofi Kingston was champion and Kevin Owens briefly joined the New Day, and it was just like, he's obviously going to turn on you. Like, they even had Kevin Owens do the New Day's intro because Big E was out. And then Kevin Owens turned on him that night. It was just, I didn't think MJF was going to turn on that episode. So I didn't see it coming. So I'll give him credit for that. They got me on that, but I still think it's way too soon for him to turn heel. He wasn't that bad of a babyface. He was actually a really good babyface. He was kind of that anti-hero, the anti-authority. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody tells me to do. I'll be the company's shill for 5 minutes, but then I'm going to go back to being me. And the fans really he got a pop every time he came out. And he was fine as a babyface. He was, and AEW has too many heels at the moment.
I agree.
With now Hangman Page is doing his heel thing, even though he's kind of the babyface. He's coming out of the babyface tunnel and everything. You have the Elite, you have Jack Perry, you have Okada, you have Christian Cage. I mean, there's just too many heels right now, and now you're adding MJF to that. I don't mind the turn. I like the way that it was done, but I just feel like it was way too soon.
I feel exactly like you do. I was so confused on the fact that they were friends out of nowhere. They became friends out of nowhere, and then he
Yeah.
turned on him out of nowhere. And then when we go to Collision, we'll talk about his reasonings, but it was just all very bizarre. And the fact that he like beat him down so badly, like it was a pretty bloody thing. And that tombstone off the turnbuckle, I would have been like, no thanks, MJF. You're not risking that.
Yeah.
That's a huge, like I said, I even cringed, like, dude, AEW, you gotta calm down with this, like,
Yeah.
we can do whatever we want mentality, because it's gonna get somebody killed. But that thing was a stupid move. But anyway, nonetheless, everyone's perfectly fine. But yeah, it was a weird thing. And we'll get into Collision and Dynamite on if I think it works and why they even did it and if these were the reasons. But it was an out of left field. And out of left field isn't always bad. I'm just like you said. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I was just kind of like, already? Okay. Then why he just came back 2 weeks ago and was like, take that, Adam Cole, and the ding ding, and I'm a superhero, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden it's just like, now I'm not. Why didn't he just do that to begin with? We didn't need
Exactly.
do that, because if it leads to him and Daniel Garcia feud, Daniel Garcia is going to lose. So what is that doing for? That's like MJF wrestling Horchito. Like, I didn't care. I don't care who he's wrestling. You got to give me. You can't just put people together. AEW. You got, especially when you have MJF. MJF is rolling. MJF is. He has to wrestle meaningful people. You can't just have him wrestle whoever. And I'm sorry, somebody else could have elevated Daniel Garcia, not MJF. But just my opinion.
I did. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like you said. I didn't hate it, didn't like it. I just, why not bring him back as a heel? And you know, if you're doing all this because you want him to have a match with Will Ospreay is a babyface, and Swerve Strickland's a babyface, and they just had one of the best matches in a long time at Forbidden Door, and you know, they made it work. So you can do face versus face, and MJF's like, he can kind of embrace that heel character. You can get Will Ospreay to embrace it if you want to, but you didn't have to turn him heel just to have him feud with Ospreay, and that seems like what they're doing.
Well, and let's see if it even works, because him just beating the crap out of Daniel Garcia, I don't think is the ticket. And if they don't, then he's just the same person he was before, because he was a heel babyface, like you said. So like Stone Cold, it just doesn't.
And speaking of like just putting people together, there was another heel turn on this episode of Dynamite, this past episode of Dynamite that we'll get into, that I think worked so much better because you didn't just throw these people together. So we'll
for no reason
certainly get into that. Yeah.
All right. So it's Collision time. Let's get into it. So we wanted to lead in because Collision was all about this. So let's get into it. MJF opens up the show to say that he attacked Daniel Garcia because he has ADD and the fans turned on him. MJF cares about Nelson ratings, which isn't true at all because he signed with AEW and not WWE. And he calls out Will Ospreay, who's not there. The conglomeration defeats Jacked Jameson and Iron Savages. I guess they like tits. I don't know. It was some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen. Jack Perry cuts a pretty damn cool promo shot, which is shot on the TNT title, and he's talking in the background of it. Hangman Page wants to destroy Swerve Strickland. Toni Storm defeats Trish Adora. The Patriarchy want the trios titles, and Killswitch beats up Kip Sabian, who just lost his dad. Yikes. Jack Perry defeats Marco Stunt. Marco Stewart?
Marco Stunt. Yeah, Marco Stunt.
Marco Stunt. That's right. Marco Stunt. The House of Black want to hurt the Patriarchy. Claudio defeats Beast Montos. Matt Menard says Daniel Garcia lost all strength on his left side of his body. He is going to return and get revenge on MJF. Serena Deeb wants Riho, who then beats Lady Frost. Hangman Page defeats Jay White with help from Christian Cage to move on to the finals in the Owen Hart Cup to close the show. And that is Collision. Sorry, I can never read my writing. But I know that guy used to be in, Jungle Boy's crew or whatever it was back in the days. So it was cool. It looked like he was a 10-year-old kid. It looked like I was fighting his son. But that guy looks like a child and is little when Jack Perry looks like the Undertaker standing next to him. So he also attempted to kill him. But let's talk about things. Let's go into MJF. What'd you think? Am I wrong with this reasoning? I mean, for one, you care about Meltzer ratings and I care about Nelson ratings. You care about Nelson ratings.
Yeah.
You care about Nelson ratings.
Yeah, see,
That's one thing you fanboys pride yourselves in, that you don't care about Nelson ratings.
Yeah, I know. And I took that to mean, I really hope he's not like, the ratings are better because I'm here. because they're
They're
not.
not.
I hope he meant like going forward, I want the ratings to be better because I'm here. I want AEW to be better because of me. I want this company, I want everyone to get paid. I want this company to make money. And I want to be a reason for that. And, all Ospreay cares about is getting the ratings from Meltzer. So I'm hoping that's what he meant. I hope I hope he wasn't trying to say like, I'm the reason that AEW's ratings are so high, because they're not. And, he's not really drawing any more than what they were doing while he was out.
No,
I didn't hate his promo, but again, I didn't like it. And the reason why I didn't like it is because I don't remember any of this happening. He was talking about how he put his body on the line for everybody, and he hurt himself, and he let Adam Cole in for everyone. And then the second that he left and he dropped the belt, everyone was chanting "Thank you, Joe." I don't remember them chanting "Thank you, Joe." I mean,
me neither.
I don't remember that. And Samoa Joe was a great champion, don't get me wrong, but I don't remember the fans, saying "Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe." Like, no, like I don't remember that. And like him saying that he was discarded like a piece of trash. Everybody wanted MJF back. I mean, he was getting, when the Undisputed Kingdom revealed themselves as the devil, MJF chants were hitting up the arena. And, Adam Cole was like, "Oh, you better stop those chants. You're never going to see him ever again. He's not here anymore." So I that's why I didn't like the promo, was that he was saying that, that the fans kind of threw him away and discarded him and chanted "Thank you, Joe" while he was in physical therapy. But I don't remember any of this stuff happening. So I feel like he kind of made it up in his head. And to me, if that's the case, then I didn't like it.
Well, and that's what he said, right? Because he has ADD, and he showed that old thing where he can't trust anybody and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's not his fault. And that's why he beat up Daniel Garcia. But then he kind of like disregarded Daniel Garcia, which I didn't like. I was praising him a couple of weeks ago when he was going at Will Ospreay, the fact that he like praised them but didn't belittle them, and he was kind of like belittling Daniel Garcia. I don't know. It wasn't a good enough reasoning for me. It sounded like a left field reasoning with a left field turn. It wasn't awful, like you said, but it wasn't great. I don't hate it. I don't like it. It is what it is, and we'll get into Dynamite if it's working or not. But the fact that Matt Menard later on was like, "Hey, he's like a paraplegic now on one side of his body, and but he'll be back." And
he's coming back as Red Death, Daniel Garcia. Like, what's that all about, too? That was the takeaway in that promo. Was that a character that he had? And he's not going to be the Dick Dancing, Daniel Garcia that he was. He's going to be Red Death, was his exact quote. But
well, that's good for Will Ospreay. At least he doesn't have to get by
can
his face.
Can we stop with these promos too, where somebody's not there and you call them out to the arena anyway? Like, can we like, I feel like that happened. That's like a every week thing in AEW. Ospreay did it this past week on Dynamite. MJF did it on this episode of Collision. Will Ospreay's music hits, he never comes out, and MJF's in the ring like, "Ha ha ha ha, I fooled you all. He's not coming." Like, can we stop with that? I just feel like you talk about a trend that's old in wrestling. I feel like that's one of the oldest ones out there. And
I agree.
I don't know. Playing the music and them not coming out. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it.
Yes, I agree. I mean, Jack Perry's promo was fantastic, and he's killing it right now. We can talk more about him later. But what do you think about this patriarchy? You were bringing it up. What do you think? It's three trios. I'm glad the trios belts are being talked about for about damn time. But they're all heels. Patriarchy's heels. The Big Gang are heels. The House of Black are heels. And they're all wanting to face each other. I'm very confused on that. But what do you think? I mean, Christian Cage ran down. I mean, he did a funny line about the fentanyl lollipop for Homeboy
for
to
Juice
have
Robinson.
And stuff. I mean, holy cow, was Christian don't pull. I don't know how he must be truly the nicest guy in real life that everybody is a-okay with him, just like being as personal and tearing you up as much as he possibly can. He has no shame in his game.
Yeah. I like this stuff. I like what they're doing. Christian's promo, though, I'm going to be honest, didn't make any sense to me. It really didn't. This is coming from a guy that loves Christian Cage. I like the fentanyl lollipop thing he said about Juice Robinson, but he was talking about Jay White and saying that, if you cared about the Bullet Club Gold so much, why would you enter the Owen Hart Tournament? Because that's your exit strategy. And then he, like 5 minutes later, after he's done rambling, he's like, yeah, and I'm gonna win the trios championship, and I'm gonna bring them back to prestige, and then I'm gonna go on and win the AEW world title. And I was like, wait, huh? I was like,
Yeah.
was he doing that to be like the conniving heel that like talks out of both sides of his mouth? But it just, to me, it just came across as like, yeah, that's your exit strategy. You don't care about this group. You want to go win the world title, but I'm going to take this group to new heights, and I'm going to go win the world. And I was like, I don't. The way it came across and the way it was delivered, I didn't really like. But yeah, like who's feuding with who now? Because you have him. Because the House of Black is mad at them at the Patriarchy too, because they took out Buddy Murphy. And they did a promo with Malachi Black and Brody King. Just the two of them talking about how they're going to go after, they're going to get Christian, but then Christian Cage is costing Jay White the match and the Owen Hart tournament, and he's like lying on the side of the ring at the end. It's three heel groups going at it, and I don't understand why this is happening, and it just, I don't know. You go from Malachi Black getting a singles match against Adam Copeland at the last PLE or pay-per-view rather at Double or Nothing to feuding with back into the trios championship picture with Christian Cage and his group, like three heel groups. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I don't hate it at the same time.
At least they're trying to tell stories. They're building stories, right? Which AEW hardcore fans say isn't pro wrestling, but they're at least trying, and they're doing.
Yeah, they are telling
what
stories.
They need
I'll
to
give them credit.
they are trying. So, like I said, I thought it was a good episode of Collision. Let's get into Dynamite. You ready? Let's get into the thick of things. Let's get to it. A lot of stuff happened on this episode, but a lot of stuff didn't happen because the first whole hour of it was basically dedicated to Bryan Danielson's match with Hangman Page. But let's go right now. Will Ospreay out for a promo, and he goes at MJF, and he's rambling, and even says MJF is mad because the bidding war of 2024 didn't go his way. Huh?
Yeah.
I was okay. He calls out MJF, who doesn't come out, but pops up on the Tron drinking wine to challenge him for the title next week. Bryan Danielson defeats Hangman Page to win the Owen Cup and a title shot at All In. Afterwards, Swerve cuts a promo and is ready to beat Danielson. The Acclaim make a music video for a new song where they are in the Bucks locker room and basically mock them the whole time. I thought it was a pretty dope song. Chris Jericho kills Samoa Joe to win the street fight. He kills him, right? I'm pretty sure that was murder. I don't know.
Yeah,
it looked like it.
We don't know what murder is anymore.
I don't.
Gable,
yeah, that's true. That is true. Both organizations, man. Yeah. Afterwards, Samoa Joe is taken away to the morgue, and Jericho waves like he's a serial killer. Is he changing his gimmick again? Did you see it? He was like,
yeah, he's going a little darker.
I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Pac wins a 4-way to earn a shot at the International Championship. So I guess now we have two contenders. Why would you have a champion? Okay. Pac says that he wants a shot at All In, mate. Hangman Page joins Team Elite for Blood and Guts. Mercedes Money comes out to Crickets and has to steal Bret Hart's line to get a reaction. DMD comes out and beats up on security. Poor security nowadays in wrestling. And Money runs away. Mariah May defeats Willow Nightingale to win the Owen Hart Cup and earn a title shot at All In. After the match, she turns on Toni Storm, hitting her with the belt, whips her with the damn belt, beats her with a freaking shoe, bloodies her up, rubs her face all over Toni Storm's face to get blood all over hers to close the show. And that was our AEW Dynamite review. Like I said, this episode was a damn roller coaster. If you want to start at the top, we can end through it, whatever you want to go. But this was like a roller coaster.
Yeah. You know,
good episode, though. Really
good. No, it was a really good episode. And one of the keys, you know, I know that there's fans out there that say that we got to have wrestling all over our show. This episode of Dynamite had 4 matches, and everything else was storytelling, story-driven, promos,
weird, huh?
Backstage segments, you know, attacks backstage, you know, heel turns. So it was it was a solid episode because they didn't focus so much on the in-ring action. So
no randomness, right? No, I agree. I thought it was a great episode, but I had 2 bads. One, they have ruined Mercedes Money. She's ruined. She came out to freaking Crickets. She got no cheer, no boos, no. Am I wrong? It was dead silent. She came out tried to do a heel promo and got no reaction. So she said, and I'm the best there is, the
Yeah.
best there was. And the crowd was like, yeah, no, fam, I'm not gonna. And that was all. And then DMD came out and she ran away. I was like, what? This girl is their biggest signing ever, right? I mean, she got more than Osprey and Okada, right? Didn't she sign $80 billion? She was supposed to revolutionize. They named a pay-per-view basically on an episode after her. And that just shows that you can, it doesn't matter who you take. If you don't know how to use them, it can fail. Eric Bischoff predicted it, and it's 100%, dude. Mercedes Moné, as I think her career, I think she needs to leave. It looked pretty bad to me, man. And it looks like they're just giving her belts just to like try to make it look like she's more than that. Even the announcers were trying their best to hype her up. It just, she definitely has been ruined, in my opinion. I'm not saying she's buried, could never come out of it. I think she can, but holy crap, did they like really drop the ball with her?
Yeah, she may need a gimmick change. Because
she's only been one person the whole time, a sassy black girl. That's all she's ever been, to be honest. I mean,
the CEO thing just it's not working.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then we going back to last week's episode of Dynamite. Before we talk about this, I am pumped about the return of Britt Baker. And the only thing I don't like is I don't think she's winning over Mercedes Moné at
she has to.
Yeah, she has to, but I don't think she is. I think Mercedes Moné is going to retain, and it stinks because like I've never been a fan of people coming back just to lose their first match back. Because it kind of talk about killing momentum. I feel like that's going to kill any momentum she has. But
I agree.
But yeah, Britt Baker being back is great for the women's division of AEW and wrestling in general because she's fantastic. But you're right, something's going on with Mercedes, and I don't know if she's trying to be a baby face and it's coming across as like the smug heel. Just like fully embrace it, and she's not ready to embrace it. Kind of like when Cody Rhodes was in AEW. He was, everyone was booing him. He was getting reactions, but he was just still being that lovable babyface who will not turn. It's kind of reminding me a lot of that, except she's not getting reactions like that, but like just embrace the heel turn. Go out there and be like, Calgary, no wonder this place sucks. You guys don't understand greatness. And then I think that would really help her character. Just completely embrace the heel turn and completely embrace the fact that the fans don't like you.
I don't think she or creative know what she is. That's the problem. I think they're lost. Yeah. I think they wanted her to be this huge star and they fumbled her. Not having her show up or wrestle for like 4 straight months, to have her still be this cocky person. She's just not a likable person. Her character is not. Sasha Banks was, but CEO just isn't. It's just not a likable. You can't be that person and expect to get cheers. And then you put her up against the most popular female in AEW history, and you're obviously trying to turn her heel, so let her turn heel is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then her talking about, shout out to my boys Nicholas and Matthew Jackson for the
and she's so
you're embrace the heel turn, just turn heel, and it will make things so much better for her.
I agree, and we talked about a pretty bad Seth Rollins CM Punk promo. I said I thought it was the worst I've ever seen from them too. AEW was like, hold my beer. I thought this was the worst promos from Will Ospreay and MJF to open up the show. Will Ospreay just did not, I don't know if he just didn't know what he was saying, if he didn't believe in what he was saying. He rambled about absolutely nothing. The lines he was saying, like when he made fun of Triple H, I thought it was bad. That's the only time I've ever seen him where I said something. Maybe he just isn't good at going at people or saying, but literally he just basically said how he was better than MJF in every way because he knows how to wrestle and this and that, and copied what MJF said on Collision. But that line where he was like, and I think, bruv, he's just mad at me because he failed at the bidding war of 2024 because it didn't go his way. What didn't go? How did it not go his way?
Yeah,
he literally came out and said, I signed to AEW and I signed with AEW because I got a truckload of money backed into my mansion and it just poured out. What implies that he didn't win the bidding war? Is he implying that he should have went to WWE? I have no idea what the hell that line was about. I was confused. I was confused by everything.
Yeah. The one thing that got me too was he was like, you got a tattoo that says AEW on it. It really should say all about me. I'm like, that's not what. There's not. That's not AEW.
No,
Like
none of it. That's what I mean.
yeah. I
It
was
kind
like,
of made me think maybe he's not as good at promos as I thought. Because I
yeah.
mean, I thought he was, and maybe he just isn't. Maybe people get nervous before MJF because MJF's so good. But even MJF sitting there like swirling wine and like sipping it in between things and like, oh, so refreshing. I'm like, why it's not refreshing? I was like, what the hell is happening? It was
Yeah.
like the worst that Dynamite opened up and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be a shit show.
And then
Like, oh my God. But
now
then it got better. Like AEW, it was a great episode, but that was just
yeah.
rough. And then let's
And
hear it. Go ahead.
and now we're having the match next week. I
Mhm.
know it's the 250th episode of Dynamite. I get that.
Who
But
cares?
you remember when they
250?
did this shit a few months ago when MJF was champion and they did like a random match on Collision between him and Kenny Omega. I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
pay-per-view main event.
Uh-huh.
And you're putting it on Collision. And I thought there was going to be shenanigans afoot. And I thought that's like the devil was going to come out and that was going to lead to no disqualification or the match wasn't going to happen. Please let there be some sort of shenanigans here because to me, Will Ospreay versus MJF, that's all in. That should happen at your biggest show at Wembley Stadium. If not, then at least 2 weeks later at All Out in Chicago. At least it needs to happen at one of your two biggest shows of the year. And like you're telling me you're going to give it away on TV next week? Like, why? Why? I don't get it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm okay with it going on. Like, I'm still to this day support Hogan, Goldberg being on Nitro. I don't know everyone's against it, but I'm for it because pay-per-view sales weren't in. It was the ratings that were a hit. AEW is struggling so much in ratings. I get why they're stacking it. Why we're gonna have
I get that too.
Swerve defending champ versus champ for no absolute reason. No, like this is a time where you just got to do it because you're hoping it'll boost and people will enjoy it. Maybe you can push the storylines, but this is the reason why I'm against it, because unlike Goldberg and Hogan, where there was an ending and a turn, this is going to end in shit. 100% Daniel Garcia is coming back. You're going to tell me right now that Daniel Garcia is not going to cost or jump MJF or cost him the match, or we're not having a clean this is not MJF and Will Ospreay number one. It's not. So why even do it?
Exactly.
If it's going to be a match and you're going to make it big, then do it. I'm all for it. You don't have to be at all in. If you want to do it now to boost ratings, I'm all for it. But it's, and I'll eat crow if it is. If they have it clean and
I would love it.
Will Ospreay clean, then I support the decision. But other than that, I don't think that's going to happen.
I would love it if they do if it ends in a 20-minute draw, and then that's what leads to a rematch at the next pay-per-view or something.
That's good.
But even then, I still like the first one should always of a match of this magnitude should happen at a pay-per-view. But
I agree.
And then the other thing I want to talk about is Bryan Danielson winning the Owen Hart Tournament, and over Adam Page. And I feel like Adam Page has been doing a lot of the best character work I've seen on the men's side in AEW recently. He, his promos of like being completely unhinged and talking about how he gave the fans everything and they chose him. The man broke into my house and they chose him. He threatened my family and they chose him. Like, it's good stuff. And he's kind of like, again, I hate to compare the two groups, but in WWE, there's a guy named Drew McIntyre who's kind of the same way. Like he's not the bad guy in this situation. He's just constantly getting screwed over, but the fans still boo him. And that's kind of how it is with Adam Page. Like, he's not the bad guy in this feud. Swerve Strickland technically is the bad guy, and he wants everything he can to get back at Swerve. I really thought Hangman Page versus Swerve was the match for All In, and Hangman Page was going to win. I'm actually really surprised they went with Bryan Danielson.
So here's the thing. I was confused when it happened, and I was like, that's weird. And then I thought about it, and I was like, actually, I think it's actually pretty good in their storytelling. He, on Collision or the Dynamite, I think it was Collision, said, all I want to do is get Swerve. I want to hurt Swerve for what he did to me. So obviously he entered that tournament so he can get a chance at Swerve.
Yeah.
He then lost to Swerve, or lost to Bryan Danielson, so he did not get his chance at Swerve now. So what does he do? He leaves instantly, goes backstage, and demands that he wants to be with the Elite so he could be on their team in Blood and Guts. And why? Because Swerve Strickland is on Team AEW. So he's now getting another chance at getting some revenge without having it to be him losing Swerve Strickland for the title match. Because I do think Swerve and Hangman is a big match, but not All In, Bryan Danielson, Swerve, or whatever. I think that's a lot bigger match. But I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, okay, I dig it, because now he's turning heel. He's joining his old friends, and he's so into wanting to get revenge. And that's what happens, right? Count of Monte Cristo. Watch the movie. Phenomenal movie. Read the book. But you're just so hooked into revenge that you don't see anything else. And I like that he's willing to team with people he hates that turned on him just so he can seek his revenge. So
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I think it's good storytelling. Once again, storytelling.
Yeah, no, I dig it. And that is, I mean, that's one of the things I like about the character, is that he's focused on the story. And that's why I think the match with Swerve and Hangman was better for All In, because of the story that these guys are telling in the ring.
Agreed.
And and you know, finish the story, right? That's the whole thing at the big shows. And I feel like that could have been a perfect way to finish that story. He gets his chance at Swerve, gives him the match of his life, and comes up just short. But Bryan Danielson versus Swerve will be fantastic. I have no doubt about it.
Agreed. All right, let's get into it. Talk about great storytelling at its finest. This has been long-term storytelling isn't professional wrestling.
Are we talking about Are we talking about Samoa Joe and Chris Jericho?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
of course.
Gosh, Chris Jericho. God, talk about getting somebody over who doesn't need to get over right now. He's like destroying everybody. But no, let's get into the meat of it. Let's get into it. Come on, talk about it. I'll let you go first, my man.
Yes,
this has been building for how long?
Long time. I mean, I was at AEW Revolution, and Mariah May came out as Toni Storm in Toni Storm cosplay, and it was like, she looked spot on. She looked just like her. It was fantastic. So it's been going on for quite a while. And again, you go back to storytelling, and you know, you talked earlier about don't just pair random people up. This is an example of, you know, these people have been together for what, 8 months now, 9 months, around that. And you know, they're not a random team. They came together, and you know, they became friends, and now they become the biggest mortal enemies, because Mariah May wins the women's Owen Hart Tournament and beats Willow Nightingale in the finals, setting up for a match at All In against timeless Toni Storm. And I mean, then it happened. The heel turn immediately. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was gonna be Toni Storm turning on Mariah May. I really thought like she was gonna be the heel in that feud, and she's better as a heel, and Mariah May was gonna be the lovable babyface, especially going into London, where she's from. I was like, okay, they're gonna make Toni Storm the heel. And then I thought, okay, the match is happening, you know, Dynamite's gonna go off the air, and you know, the turn will come eventually, whether it's Toni Storm or Mariah, but somebody's going to turn on them eventually. I had no idea it was going to happen that night on this past Wednesday. And it was done beautifully. I loved everything about it. I mean, from her grabbing the belt and just doing it immediately, to, you know, constantly, you know, hitting her over and over with the belt, to hitting Luther with the belt, to shoving Aubrey Edwards out of the way, and then hitting her with the high heel over and over, because, you know, Toni Storm's always saying watch for the shoe, and now it's the shoe that ends up getting her. The blood, you know, we talk about blood in AEW all the time. This was well done blood. Like, this was blood that added elements to the story. It wasn't overly, I mean, it was a lot of blood, don't get me wrong, but it's not a constant thing right now. And it was just done. It was done to further the feud and further the story, and tell how serious this story is going to be. And her rubbing her face and snuggling up to Toni Storm, the bloody Toni Storm, and getting the blood on her face. It was just a great way to end what I thought was a killer episode of AEW Dynamite. It was just fantastic. Great production. Great. You know, Toni Storm sold it well. Mariah May got, you know, you talk about Mercedes not getting a reaction. That girl got a big reaction from this. And, you know, AEW's problem has never been storytelling, in my opinion. It's always been follow-up on storytelling. So I want to see where they go from here. Like the promo next week as to why she did it, it's got to make sense. Don't make it some like, well, because she was cheating on me in the back with, you know, someone's like, I don't want that. I want it to be like, I wanted her from the very beginning. I wanted this title, and, you know, she's just a peon. I don't know what I want, but the follow-up's got to make sense. But I loved everything they did with this heel turn.
Well said. I don't even got to add much to it. That was exactly what I thought. Perfectly done. I like that it was Mariah May and not Toni Storm. I dig
Me
that a
too.
lot. I dig
Yeah.
that she finally waited until she got her shot. And I think her reason's going to be something to do with I always looked up to you, but then you tried to make me you. You made me your old self. You made me this. I'm not your puppet. I'm better than you. And I
I
want to
hope
show
so.
you. And
Yeah.
that's why I turned on you because I'm the person, not you, and so on.
I
We'll
just
see. But holy cow, that match
yeah.
is going to be phenomenal.
I
What a
just don't
great
want
build.
it to be like, because they kind of turned Tony Storm like lesbian lovers and stuff. Like, I don't want
Ugh,
it to be like, oh,
yeah.
you cheated on me with Riho, or you cheated on me
Mhm.
with this. Like, I don't want that. Or I've been in love with this person and I was just using you to get to her. I don't want that. Like, I want what you said. Give me that.
Mhm. I agree. But well done, Tony Khan. Well done, AEW, and well done, Tony Storm and Mariah May. And Mariah May is going to be a star. People want it, and I'm assuming that she's going to beat Tony Storm as well and win that title. So I think it's going to be a good run for her at All In. We'll see.
Yeah.
Hometown, right? Is that what they said? All In, so
Yeah.
home, right?
She's from London.
So
Yeah.
should be good stuff, man. I'm looking forward to it. So. All right, that's AEW and week in review. It was a phenomenal week for AEW. Once again, like we said, the past few weeks, I know we missed out on the podcast,
Mhm.
but AEW is cooking, man. I know WWE is killing it over there, and I know they're shining, but AEW ain't over here doing nothing. They're doing their damn thing, and I'm proud of
Yeah.
them. Keep it up. Ratings will get back. I mean, you lost people for a while, but you'll gain those people back. They always say it's easier to lose, right, than it is to gain. So you can get rid of money really quickly, but it's hard to earn it, right? So you'll just got
Yeah.
to keep trucking, keep getting there.
Yep, and keep on with the stories. Stories are
Yep.
selling, and keep up with. Don't do the pop shots at WWE anymore. Just
Mm-mm.
they haven't done that in the last couple of weeks, and
Yep.
their product has improved greatly because of it. So
I
just
agree.
focus on what you're doing and keep it up.
I agree. All right, let's get into our segment. You ready? We got a song? We don't, right? I
No
didn't think
song,
so.
no song
All
for
right,
Would You
so
Rather.
it's Would You Rather time. Basically, we're going to give ourselves a couple scenarios, and we have to decide would we rather do that one or that one, if you know what I mean. As always, the man with the plan, the producer with the mooser, Mr. Ryan enjoys wrestling. He gets to start off. Hit me up. Give me
All
your
right,
first one.
we'll start off hot. We'll come hot right out of the gate. So both of these people's contracts are apparently up in the other company, WWE. So I want to hear from you, Natalia or Ricochet. Who would you rather see make the jump from WWE to AEW?
So Ricochet is not confirmed, you're right? Although that's
Yeah,
what people said, but
people are
all
saying
right.
it, but until he's there, you never know.
I mean, it definitely doesn't make sense for Ricochet because once again, his fiance, soon to be wife, is in W. Why would you leave her? Doesn't I don't get that. But I'm gonna go with Ricochet only because his vibe fits so well with AEW vibe, his flippity doodahs, his matches. He's probably drooling just thinking about jumping off of the top of a stadium through a car to try to kill himself and all the luxuries he's going to have to do his damn thing. Matches with Will Ospreay, but I think both of them would get forgotten either way. I think if Natalia went over, she would mentor and then just become like Serena Deeb, where she's kind of in the back helping people instead of doing anything. She can do that at WWE. Why leave? So I say Ricochet just because he's still young. He can still have a pretty good career, possibly in AEW. So, but I mean, we know how it works, man. You go from WWE to AEW, you get Mercedes money. So
Yeah,
that's just how it works.
and speaking of Mercedes, I'm going to say I think Natalia would be phenomenal for AEW. And Mercedes dropped that line this week of "I'm the best there was, the best there is, the best there ever will be." And who's related to the Hearts is Natalia.
She uses that line.
Yeah. So people were thinking, is that a are they introducing Natalia? I don't think so. I think it was because they were in Canada. But but I actually think Natalia, just because the women's division in AEW, they have a really stacked roster. Don't get me wrong, but I think she could add some much needed depth. I think she'd be a good TBS champion. I think she could add some great mid card matches for people like Willow and people like Serena Deeb, like you said, and some other folks in AEW. So Ricochet, he's just he's Matt Sydal. He's we see him all the time.
He is.
We don't need another. He's Will Ospreay. We don't need another Ricochet in AEW, but I think the women could benefit from a Natalia coming in and kind of having that Adam Copeland mentorship moment and kind of helping the younger talent.
I don't disagree. Good call. Good call. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather? I'm popping you with a triple header. Here we go. Would you rather Will Ospreay defeat Swerve Strickland to become the new champion?
Okay.
MJF to defeat Swerve Strickland to become the new champion, or Bryan Danielson defeat Swerve Strickland to become the new champion? Who would you rather have be the person to defeat Swerve Strickland?
I'm going to go MJF. I think, Bryan Danielson, I know people are saying he needs to win a belt before he retires or he's done being a full-time performer with AEW.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily agree. I mean, I think he is done perfectly with AEW. He's done everything he's supposed to do. He hasn't even touched a belt other than the Owen Hart title. He hasn't come anywhere near a belt. And I've never been a fan of just giving it to somebody because it's their last year. Like Swerve has been carrying this company. He's been carrying the division and everything. And I think he deserves the reign. And Ospreay, I like Ospreay. I think he has potential to be face of the company, but just not right now. And I think the only other one, if Swerve has to drop the belt, have him drop it to MJF, and let's get this new MJF that's this heel that doesn't give a shit about what the fans want. No more Triple B, no more kangaroo kick like that happened in the last couple years. The last 4 months of the reign. Let's have MJF. Let's have him be a true heel while he holds this belt. So I'm going to say MJF. I don't think he should have lost the belt in the first place to Samoa Joe.
No, but I think he did for a reason, right? Yeah, because he was hurt. Yeah, man. I would rather have it MJF too, just because I think the company needs him to be their top person as well, just to help in ratings and so on. But I think it's going to be Bryan Danielson. I have a feeling he's going to defeat Swerve. But I just feel like he never had the title yet. He's been there forever. He was always second best. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. But I'd rather have MJF, but I think it's going to be Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I could see it being Danielson. And I don't hate it being Danielson. I just like Swerve. I want him to have a good long reign.
I agree. All right, last one. What do you got for me?
All right, let's see. Let me go. Okay. That one's too easy. All right,
That's what she said. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go the other way. And I'm gonna give you a triple threat as well, but we're gonna go to the other company. So Ricky Starks, Wardlow, or Hook. Which would you rather see leave AEW and be the next ex AEW talent to be signed by NXT or WWE?
That's a good one. Ricky Starks is probably the most obvious and will happen because him and Cody Rhodes date on the side. Wardlow is a beast and Triple H loves having monsters. He would fit in perfectly. And Hook is such an up-and-comer. Imagine him being the NXT champion.
Can't go wrong with any of them.
You know what? I'm going to say Wardlow. Only because I truly think Wardlow could have easily been the face of AEW. I think minus the Acclaimed at that one point, right when they won the tag team titles, they are the most over people ever. And Wardlow is the most over person ever in AEW. But his feud with MJF, it was like on a silver platter. Like, here you go. You just made a star. He squashed MJF. Everybody loved him. He was ready to become the biggest star ever, and he just never did. So I think he deserves it, just like seeing Ethan Page go over and win the NXT championship. Just imagine Wardlow, just, I don't know, beating up on Gunther or interfering on Cody Rhodes or just anything, KO, just powerbombing. It's just good stuff. So I'm going to say Wardlow. I'd like to see Wardlow have a fair shot at something.
I like that pick. I think he could fill that Braun Breaker void on NXT and just be that monster that just runs
him in NXT
through everybody. Yeah, I'd love that. I can't wait for the Chris Van Fleet interview or the Wardlow documentary to figure out like what the hell has happened in AEW.
Where is he now?
Wait. Yeah, like what's
they keep
doing?
showing the other guys. I know Adam Cole's hurt. Is Wardlow hurt? Why is he not with them?
Yeah, I don't. Like, what's with the start and stop booking? Because the last time we saw him, he was supposed to win the belt and give it to Adam Cole. But that never happened, and then we saw Adam Cole like stared at him really weird at a pay-per-view recently. So yeah, I can't wait for the documentary to figure out what happened with Wardlow in AEW.
Yeah, I agree. All right, my last one. God, I got a few good ones, but I got to pick which one I want to do. Let me see here. Which one is better? Actually, I'll go this easy one. No, not too controversial. All right. Would you rather Christian Cage have one last title run in AEW before he leaves, or Adam Copeland having one last title run before in AEW before he leaves or retires? So who would you rather see have one more shot, but it be in AEW, not WWE? Who deserves one last title run in your eyes before they retire or leave, whatever they're going to do?
This one's easy for me, but I'm going to say Christian Cage. I think everything that he's done, and I only say that because Adam Copeland is hurt right now, and you know he's only, but he hadn't been there long. Christian Cage has been in AEW for quite a while, and he, even when he was a babyface, he was competing for the world title. He was competing with Kenny Omega. He was he kept coming up short, and then he turned heel on Jungle Boy, and as a heel, he has just been on a whole nother level. He's been carrying that company. You know, some of the segments he's had are, you know, are internet memes and things like that because of his comments and the words that he's used. And, you know, so yeah, I think he has meant more to AEW. He's made it, you know, the dead father thing and go F yourself and just all these little one-liners that he has. He's meant more to AEW than Adam Copeland has. And I think he deserves at least one reign as world champion before he hangs it up for good. So I'm going to say Christian Cage. 100%.
I think I agree with you on that too. I thought maybe Adam Copeland, just because he came back, and I think that's why he was coming back, right? WWE didn't use him right. He wanted to be more of a full-time wrestler, so come over to AEW. He already got the TNT title, you know what I mean, and so on, and blah, 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 just like Christian Cage. But yeah, I think Christian Cage, like him having one last title run, I think would not only be good, but it would work. He's the biggest heel in all of professional wrestling right now. He has been, him and Dirty Dom, but he, I think, has now taken it over. The dude is just killing it, and I would just love to see him just with that belt and how he would run with it and the mockery and everything. It would just be really, really good. And imagine him having it, and then him and Adam Copeland could finally have their real feud one last time before they team up or do whatever. But yeah,
no, I would love that. And then this is why I wish MJF hadn't turned baby or heel, because we could. I still wish we could get heel Christian Cage versus babyface MJF on the microphone. So many missed opportunities there, but yeah, Christian Cage 100% deserves a reign, and hopefully we'll get it.
I agree. All right, that's it for AEW, man. Good job. We did it.
Yeah,
we're back with AEW. Sorry, fans, of those of you who missed us the last couple of weeks, but we are back. And as always, you know, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. If you did miss us, thank you for missing us. I hope you guys did miss our AEW takes. We are being a lot more friendlier about it, only because our product has gotten better. We're always telling the truth. I crap on WWE just like I crap on AEW. If I personally don't think it's good, I'm not going to say I like it. Why lie? So, but AEW's been cooking. I'm excited for what's coming up, and I look forward to seeing what we're doing on this 250th episode, which I think is weird. Like 100, 200, 300 shows don't usually do 250. I think that's a little bizarre, but I think they're doing it for a reason, because I think that Nelson ratings comment was for a reason. I think they want the ratings to go up no matter what fanboys believe.
Yeah,
you have to make money. The end. So
agreed. Yeah.
But with that said, as always, thank you. If you want to just hit me up, HBD Denton on all social media outlets. You can just hear me talk, TikTok, Instagram, and so on. And as always, my brother from another mother, the other dude himself, Mr.
Ryan Enjoys Wrestling. Go follow me on all the social media platforms. Go follow us on TikTok at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. Go follow us on X at 2 Dudes PC. And then if you're listening to us on audio and Spotify, we appreciate all the love and support. Go leave us a 5-star rating and review. And then don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at 2 Dudes with Attitudes. We're blowing up there. We're at 1170 now. We want to be at 1200 by the end of the summer, and I think we can make that happen. But we need all the love and support from you guys. So appreciate everyone's love and likes and everything so far. But let's keep it going, because 2024, man, I told you it's gonna be the year of the dudes.
2 dudes with
Dudes,
attitudes.
wolf back. We out.
Go. It's the 2 dudes and our attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton. They here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast. Start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all elite, the two dudes with the attitudes will bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.